Hey y'all, so let's chat. Um, excuse me if I'm not in my normal perky demeanor. But I wasn't going to record this initially. Wait, I'm lying. I did want to record this last night, but it was still too fresh. Um, and I was gonna wait and record it later on in the day, but I really want to be able to process this and let it go. And if I record it later, I'm going to have to hold it with me the rest of the day. And I really want to just release it, get it off my chest, and be able to um, separate myself from it and not have it sitting on my chest because I'm thinking about what I'm going to talk about. So I'm not going to hold too much of y'all time today. I went out last night and um, in addition to like a whole bunch of other factors of, you know, trying to find parking, it being packed as hell, you get in there, it's hot as hell, like it was a lot going on. And um, I'm maneuvering through the crowd or whatever with my friend, and at one point, I stopped and started talking to this guy. And we kind of flirting back and forth or whatever. And he like, we're gonna exchange numbers. I'm like, that's cool. So we exchange numbers. And as I start to walk away, he grabs my ass. And initially, like I stopped and was like, bro, like really? Really? Like really? Like that was my initial reaction. And then that shit started to sit with me the rest of the night. Like you got the number. So why you felt it was like necessary to invite yourself to touch me, it was really like blowing my mind. Like I think as women, sometimes we get to a certain point where we are desensitized from being grabbed in the club, in a party, in a bar. You feel somebody on your elbow, you feel somebody grab your shirt. Like, we kind of have gotten so used to it where when it happens, we just kind of keep it pushing, and try to get away from whoever is doing the touching. I think, I can't tell you that I've ever been like, when I say he grabbed my ass, like he cuffed it, like he flexed his motherfucking finger. So I don't think that's been done to me without consent in my life. And again, I didn't really think it bothered me until I got home. And when I was sitting and taking my shoes off, I started crying. And in the midst of me crying, I began to have like a sense of memory flood from the time in which I was sexually assaulted. And not to spend too much time on that, but I'm not super emotionally attached, attached isn't the word, connected to that experience. I've, of course, talked about it with my therapist. And I'm kind of blessed to have not let it interfere with my life for the most part. And I just thought that it was crazy for in that moment. That's what came to my head. And I think it's because it's the only other time where I felt really violated. And the coincidence about the two situations, so in my sexual assault, the person was somebody I was feeling. Like he would have eventually got it. I would have gave it to him, but he didn't deem it necessary to wait. And that's kind of how I feel about Buddy. Like, not that I would have gave him some pussy, but you got the number. So to like be a creep, that's why, you know, when people be like, oh, they don't have that person didn't have to rape nobody. Well, like, because they got power or women fawning over them. Like, men who could get consent violate before they get consent all the time. Like, I don't think men realize that we truly do a lot of safeguarding against them when we go out. Like, when we walk with each other, like when women walk through the party holding each other hand close as hell, it's not only because we don't want to lose each other, it's because we, in a sense, like, shield each other from inappropriate touches in certain places. Like, that's one thing. And when we decide that we want to dance and twerk and all of that, notice how other women are around. So that way we feel like we can have fun and not have to worry about a nigga coming up behind us that we don't know is there. So it's these little things that we have to implement in order to feel safe in a party space. Like, we're not gonna even talk about the alcohol. Like, but yeah, like, I really don't think a lot of men understand the implications of touching on women. Like, I was on Twitter earlier this week, and the Freaknik videos are like making their way back around Black Twitter, and you know, it was people saying stuff like, you know, this why we couldn't have Freaknik in this day and age because niggas is rapey. And then when you look at the videos, you see like niggas been rapey, like men have been creepy, rapey, touchy, nasty, disgusting. Like, it's and I know some of y'all have seen them videos of them girls, of the compilation of all the girls walking past and things being inappropriately done to them, whether they be pulling on their pants or smacking their ass, touching their titties. It was, every time I see that, I cringe, like, because I could not have I couldn't imagine the type of anxiety that you go back home with after dealing with something like that. Like, Miami, sometimes spring break, definitely comparable as far as like niggas wasn't pulling down pants, but the grab down that Ocean Drive, talk about anxiety provoking. Because it ain't nothing but niggas from all different states, cities, and townships lined up, looking at you, waiting to touch you like you pray. And I felt like I needed to do this video because I feel like every woman has gone out to a party and felt that type of violation in one way or another. Like, even, you know, touching an arm or something, that's one thing. But when you go to touch parts, like, I'm single. I ain't had my ass grabbed in a very long time. So for somebody who I didn't give permission to do it, I'm livid. Like, bro, I don't fucking know you. So what I decided to do this morning was I text that man. And I told him, I'm not going to tell you who I am, but just know when we exchanged numbers last night, when I walked away, you grabbed my ass. And I'm here to tell you to never do that fucking shit to nobody else again. To no other woman. Don't do that shit. Like, I don't think when y'all get to touching on women in the club without them knowing or without them consenting, how it can re-traumatize somebody. Because that's what I kind of felt like. Like, the same feelings that came up for me before are now back on the surface. And I think that's why when I got in the house, I finally cried, because I feel like I was finally in my safe haven. But I've said this in many videos before to men, that you don't have to touch us to get our attention. And as much as you may think that tapping a girl on the butt or some shit like that is harmless, it can be very harmful. And it can bring up a lot of things for women who have been violated in the past. So, this is a PSA to tell you men to keep your fucking hands to yourself. Okay? Please, for the sake of us all, keep your hands to yourself. Don't touch anybody. Okay? So that's it. That's all I got. I hope you all enjoy the rest of your Sunday. I'm getting ready to go indulge in some self-care. Okay?